CrossFit started out as a training protocol for first responders, policemen, firemen, people who need to be physically fit for their jobs. Came and realized that the Globo Gym 3 sets of 10 on barbells and dumbbells wasn't doing the trick, so they created a program where their fitness level increased over all capacities to help in their daily life and job.
A big thing with CrossFit is people may be very intimidated because they don't know it. They don't know what's going on. So I feel that you don't really know anything until you actually try. I saw the CrossFit Games, which is on ESPN, and it was like the Super Bowl of CrossFit. The top notch people who do it almost for a living. They exercise for a living. And then I decided to go do an intro session at my local gym back in Maryland, where I'm from. And I enjoyed the team aspect of it, working out with people, and kind of like the whole group aspect. I hear that all the time. People may say, oh, I gotta work out before I come to you guys. It's like, no, not necessarily. That is not the case. Again, I think that's a stereotype where maybe all people see maybe on the internet or on TV are these super fit individuals. That's like, well, they weren't born that way. We try to put it in perspective of everybody comes in here from their own background, their own personal experience.
I've seen adaptive athletes, people with no legs do it. I've seen people with neurological disorders do it. I've seen grandmothers do it.
So I wanted a different, more fun way of working out because I would always get bored in the gyms with just like machines and just mirrors everywhere, and everyone just is just like, it's just not good. You don't know what you're doing half the time. You're just kind of winging it. For a couple months, I was kind of like scared to do it because you're thinking like, oh, these people are gonna be like really ripped, and which, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are, you know, but there's also very normal people. And like, I didn't know that when I came in here.
I wasn't super confident as a teenager, and so I came in as like an 18-year-old, so it was a very developmental time for me. So it really gave me a confidence and a belief in myself that I didn't have before.
Even though when you're in it and it's painful and it hurts, you get through it, come back day in, day out. Consistency is a big one.
I'm glad I did it. I don't think I'd be as happy right now if I didn't.
My job is making people happy, making the workouts fun for people and interactive and engaging. Like, we take pride in being good at everything and not just great at one thing. Somebody be like, oh, do you guys run? It's like, yes. It's like, oh, do you do intervals? It's like, yes. So we do all these different things.
So we have personal training. We have an RV Fit class, which is more boot camp style. There's no barbells involved, so there's no quote unquote heavy lifting, but we do use kettlebells, dumbbells, a lot of core-based movements in that program. We have a barbell only class and club that meets 3 times a week. We have an endurance class that meets twice a week for those who want to run, row, bike for longer distances. We also have a yoga mobility class that goes on weekly. And if there's not a movement that you can do, we've got 2 or 3 below that to scale on that too. We have the barbell class, and normally you would think that's a male-run class and program, but we have about 95% female there. So we have a lot of females coming in, maybe some with the pre-notion that you get big or bulky lifting barbells, but that's certainly not true. That's basically impossible with the female hormones. So seeing these women that look very physically fit, lifting a lot of weight, kind of maybe looking the same weight they want to look, is very encouraging.
For women, often it was just cardio, running, and now to see all these women here lifting and putting up these heavy weights and embracing their strength and really embracing the strength they've had all along, I think it's huge.
I think it's great for women to do stuff like this. A lot of women like think it's like, oh, I don't want to get like muscles and stuff when they because they do a lot of weightlifting CrossFit, and that's one thing that they deters them from signing up or becoming a member, because they don't want to gain muscle that much. But I'm like, you don't have to do it like that. Some people do it to do that, but if you just scale to what you can handle, you're not going to bulk up.
Norm for a healthy one may be this skinny, frail body type, where that is not the case. I think CrossFit is doing a great job of altering a woman's perspective for the better, in that a healthy body type is someone who is strong, you know, someone who is able to you know, functionally move and do things on their own.
I think I was one of those typical insecure 20-somethings earlier on, where I had to be very skinny and I had to be blonde and I had to be pretty, and going to the gym was always about torturing myself and about looking at the calories and keep, you know, ticking off the numbers to make sure I worked off whatever I ate that day, maybe like the 2 M&Ms. And CrossFit's not at all about that. I think it's the first gym that I've been to where the mindset is about strength, both mentally and physically, and I think that's a huge switch for me. I think it's about finding your own power.
Where we have more women being proud of the muscles that they have, and like, I earned these did not come easy. For men, it may impact their mental state a little bit more. So they may see that, okay, I'm a little open-minded, I'm gonna try this even though I've never done it before, whereas like, no, I'm gonna do this because that's all I know. And men have more of an ego when it comes to exercise, which is why you may see you know, puffing their chest in the gym and looking in the mirror, and they may look at women oddly if you see them like in a commercial gym and they try to lift weights, and it's like, what are you doing here? You know that, but that's not the case here in CrossFit gyms. We have a lot more women who are interested in that because they're not as egotistical or prideful on getting instruction from someone else on how to do things correctly, whereas men, they think they already know everything. Of course, the overall sense of community, so that they start to get to make know people, make friends here at the gym. We offer social events here where they can actually go out and meet people outside of the gym. We have plenty of people that form relationships here that are lasting. People have got boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, eventually have kids, so that's crazy to see.
Everyone is there to like help you out, and so it's a really great community of people. And another thing is like people keep you accountable. Like if you do become friends with people, like you'll end up going to the same class and they'll be they're like, where have you been?
Most CrossFits, like ours here, does the nutrition program where you have all your friends helping you and encouraging you to eat well.
Like even if you're the last one to finish in a workout, people stay after and wait for you to finish, and they'll you know clap your hands and they'll give you a high five for finishing. Like they just want you to be better too. If you're afraid of body image, it's totally fine. Like no one's judging you for wanting to better yourself.
My perception of women and beauty has changed by being here, only because the women that I look up to now are like some of the stronger women of the gym, or some of the women that are Olympic lifters or whatever, or do Olympic lifting. So I know for me, I've been trying to shift my body type to being bigger. And actually I've had to learn to eat more to be here, because eating what I used to eat doesn't get me through the workouts. I sort of feel like I'm gonna pass out halfway through. So.
The harder you work, the better you're gonna feel after. So the things, like that's what I apply in my marriage and at work too, is if I put in the hard work when things aren't going well, it'll pay off. And in my marriage, just learning to sacrifice and like put in time and effort to the things that are important.
I have a competitive spirit, which I didn't really know before, but I found a way to push myself more than I ever had before. I think that CrossFit was one of the biggest drive in this like fitness culture we have nowadays, which I think is huge, especially in a country like ours where obesity is such a problem. And it's cool and it's fun to go out. I do a lot of field work at school, so I'm out in the field serving, and I like to feel like a little less out of breath than the people around me. It's changed my life, really.